Panthalassa, is testing a radical idea: floating data centres in the ocean powered by wave energy and cooled by seawater. I know, sounds crazy, sounds impossible. It's not. It's futuristic, but it could reshape how the world powers digital infrastructure. Paul Spain, Gorilla Tech CEO, with me this morning. First of all, let's start with the name. How are we saying this?
Panthalassa.
There we go. And what is it?
So, look, this is I guess we've been hearing about data centres in space. This is now taking them to the ocean, and there's been varying experiments down this track in the past. But Panthalassa has raised about 240 million in New Zealand dollar terms for their third generation of their ocean data centre. The way that it operates is you've got this unit's going to be about 85 metres tall, around 10 metres across at the top, and the ocean waves will generate the power by pushing water up through the centre, and then that water will come down much like what we're used to in a hydroelectric situation in terms of power generation. There'll be a turbine that's driven as the water comes back down, and then the motion brings the water back up. So you've got that power being generated by the unit. You've got the cooling for the data center because you're out in the ocean. You pick locations where it's not too hot. So you've got that natural cooling, and then the bit that sort of took me by surprise is these things are untethered. So there's no no connection, so they can actually move around. Also, that
like floating buoys, just sending a satellite link up
and satellite connectivity for the data to move backwards and forwards.
Crazy. Will it work?
Well, they've done lots of work over a period of about 5 years to date, and they're gearing up with their factory. They're saying they expect to be in commercial operation next year.
Really? And how much because we look at the traditional data centre on land, how many AI searches does one of these bad boys can give us?
I'm not sure how much each unit will be, but they're really gearing up to produce these like cars are produced. It's going to be a factory. They're going to be rolling off the line apparently, and they're going to be able to put a lot of them out at sea. And they can be out in international waters. They will have a level of control as well. So there's some pretty fascinating aspects to it. I'm curious about the environmental impact.
Yeah, same. And also, what if they crash into each other? Or have they got some thrusters that you can remote control? Or
well, this is the interesting thing. They're saying that they have very, very few moving parts. It's really down to the turbine, but they think that they have a level of control in terms of how they navigate. So how that plays out, I'm very interested to see.
I'm like you, interested in the environmental part of it, because when you mess with Mother Nature, even just a little bit, she can get quite cranky. In Norway, or I should say Scandinavian countries, they've got those wind farms out in the ocean, big turbines, and apparently they've created sort of wind, where there was wind coming on land, there's now sort of dead zones, like 20% of the wind that used to come on land is no longer coming on land because it's been sucked up. And you just think, what's the flow-on effect of that? And what's the flow-on effect of one of these things taking the motion of the ocean that would otherwise end up on a coastline?
Well, I think there's so much motion that comes from the waves. I think you'd have to have an insane number to impact that. However, having something that big, potentially generating noise, what impact does that have on ocean life? Is it just something else like the oceans are used to having ships moving about on them? Is it something else that just adds to that and doesn't have a dramatic impact?